Welcome back. You just found the G spot. It is the 9th of February, 2024. I hope you're all having a wonderful Friday. The weekend is fast approaching. It's a little gloomy in Texas today. We have a lot of weather reports. It's looking like it's probably going to end up storming significantly this weekend and then leading to a potential cold front. So we'll see what happens and we'll see if we lose power. How is everyone in the chat doing today? I want to very quickly take a moment to thank my patrons for their continued support. And again, a special shout out to Jesse Johnson, Liz Edits, David Dunn, One Shot One Kill, Mike Dememe, Treasure Valentine, everyone who supports us at the Leader and Voyager tier. Thank you so much for your continued support across all of our channels. So going into the weekend, it has been a really crazy week. And we're wrapping up the week with a little bit of a look ahead. Next week is going to be potentially just as significant, maybe even more so as this week. So next week we have the big Microsoft announcement, I guess. I don't want to really call it a presentation. It's not a presentation. But Microsoft does have a special announcement next week. There is various rumors about what they're going to do. A lot of it is clickbait. I will make that very clear. A lot of it is clickbait. There are titles that you are not going to see on other platforms. Now that being said, I'm a PC gamer. Really, like, my console is the Nintendo Switch. That's mine, so to speak. But I am primarily a PC gamer. If it comes to Xbox, it comes to PC. Sony's now moving forward with, if it comes to Sony, it will also come to PC. I'm good. You know what I mean? If it's multi-platform, it's already coming to PC, and they are moving their exclusives to come to PC as well. So, like, I'm good. I just kind of sit back and, let the chips stack, right? So I pretty much just... I'm like, when it comes to PC, it'll be the better version. I don't have to pick between performance, graphics. I get to have the better overall version. I'm comfortable with waiting for, in terms of like my own choices and my own income. Outside of what I review and outside of what I am blessed with the opportunity to be given and to be able to review stuff, which is always welcome. But when it comes to my own choices, right, and my own income, my own choices, what I spend money on, I'm always going to wait for that PC release. Nintendo doesn't do PC releases. Nintendo is Nintendo. They're a powerhouse. They can handle it. Nintendo doesn't need anybody else because they're just that much of a powerhouse. They have great schedules. They have a great work ethic. They don't chase the latest, which is a very smart, brilliant decision, in my opinion, not to chase the latest graphic crazes. They get to focus on gameplay, and they get to focus on a visual style and identity that's all their own. And their games are amazing because of it. There isn't a Nintendo game that, in my opinion, like, is less than a 4 out of 5. You know what I'm saying? Like, Nintendo games are 4 and 5. That's pretty much it. Mario, Zelda, Metroid, we're talking like that's high caliber. So with Nintendo, a little bit of a segue here, we leaked all the way back on the 19th of January that a Nintendo Direct was coming this month. It still is. I am very excited about that one. Now, I personally do not expect the February Direct to reveal the console. If we go by the history of Nintendo, that's something that we will probably see in March or April. That's usually when that happens. Again, it's deduction. It's a really straightforward, simple deduction because all you have to do is look at the social media history of when Nintendo does announcements for their consoles. Look at March, look at April, go from there. We know, well, if everything is true, right? If everything is true, we know that the successor to the Nintendo Switch, whatever it ends up being called, is releasing this holiday. I am very excited. And this is pretty much the first of the next generation of consoles. So we're going to have the successor to the Switch this year in 2024, and then in 2026 we have the next generation Xbox. It is Microsoft's plan to beat Sony to the table, which it's looking like they will, because right now early reports are saying that the PlayStation 6 isn't due out until 2027. So we get Nintendo first, then Microsoft beats Sony by a year, and we'll see how all of that plays out. And of course, one of the things that we've talked about is everybody is pretty much abandoning the disk drive, if you will. Xbox is going to be abandoning the disk drive potentially as soon as this year if they're able to make their hardware revisions to market. Revisions to the Xbox Series will be without a disk tray, and the next generation Xbox, it will also be without disk trays unless something crazy happens in the in like the retailer market where people reject it outright. It'll be very interesting to see. Now, I say all of that again to point this out. What I have seen of the next generation Xbox is there will be a port to add on a disk drive if the consumer wants, which leads me to believe that, just like I previously said, Microsoft might be a little concerned about if the retail market is going to reject the Xbox Series hardware revisions. And I think if they see a big enough rejection, that port that you can buy a disk drive for is going to be there by default. But again, we're going to have to see what consumers do. It's always been interesting for me in the business, working professionally, you hear a lot of people saying they want physical media, that they want to own it. And we're seeing it more and more because of media just being completely erased, right? Just being completely erased from digital libraries. I don't know if I don't know if people are going to reject an Xbox without physical media. And also, if Sony's 2027, the PS6 is doing this as well, which I've heard that Sony's also experimenting going diskless. If the audience rejects what Microsoft does, how are they going to respond? And the easiest answer is they're just going to put in that disk drive. But I don't know how the consumer will respond. I know what focus testing has told me in the past, right? I know what I've heard in the past overwhelmingly. People don't want to lose physical media. So we'll see. We'll see if the 2024 consumer is done with physical media. Nintendo is not abandoning physical media. The successor to the Switch has a cartridge port, and again, it is, as far as I've been made aware, the successor to the Switch is going to be backwards compatible. Optimus123 says hello. Hello, Optimus. So there is a lot happening with these next couple of weeks. Obviously, Microsoft's announcements are going to be the talk of the town. I think the Nintendo Direct is going to be the talk of the town because I think Nintendo's going to show off some good games. But I don't expect Nintendo to show off the end of the year games, which I believe if the Switch successor is launching this year, I believe that the Mario game that I had previously seen is launching with it, and I think Metroid might also. One or both are going to be launching with it. I think Metroid is far enough along. I think we're going to see that. But I also know that I have seen a new 3D Mario that I assume is for the Switch successor and not the Switch. Again, still waiting to have some of these details ironed out, but Nintendo in the next couple of months, if they're going to iron it out, they're going to reveal it for themselves if we don't get more confirmed leaks. But I know that there is a new 3D Mario in development. I have seen a little bit of it, and I believe it is for the Switch successor. And I do believe that Metroid Prime 4 is also for the Switch successor. Teledia says, hey, Greg, new name I see. Oh, yeah, it's 2024. We're having some fun this year. Dan the Man says, flame on. I know you're excited, Dan. Dan, did you see in the Discord I posted the entire plot for the series premiere of Born Again. I'm not going to openly talk about it here unless people want to talk about the plot of Born Again, but the entire season premiere, our series premiere of Born Again is up on our Discord, spoiler tag, so you got to click it to read it. But again, big stuff there. I continue to comb through the Insomniac leaks. I pretty much can play Spider-Man 2 on PC now. It's completely it works, looks good. I'm happy with it. So there's that, which is a big deal. obviously official release comes, I'll happily support it, but I am excited to experiment with this. And then I have almost got working the new build of Marvel's Wolverine, which I can't show on YouTube because I already have. I now, yet again, I have 2 copyright strikes. I have 2 strikes on this channel. Again, depending on what I'm able to get working, how the next couple of weeks go, because I'm just swamped with so much stuff right now. We will be playing Wolverine for our patrons. So we're going to do a patron hangout. If whatever you want me to explore, whatever you want me to do in Wolverine, we're going to experiment with it. I've got access to, because again, I've been doing some work on it. I've got access to some new Infinite builds. Anyway, we'll talk about it in our Patreon live stream. But that will be something that has to be private because, well, YouTube will destroy us. Which again, I also, in terms of this channel, we have a lot coming up. We have a big review for Madam Web. We have a big review for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And we have one other review that might be interesting to some people, but I'm going to have some fun and I'm going to review it anyway. But I can't say what I'm reviewing. It's going to be a surprise. So we got a lot of plates rolling and a lot of reviews coming up, which is what is taking a lot of time because the game that I am reviewing is something that it's not like Suicide Squad where I don't think anybody was given early access to Suicide Squad, so I pretty much in terms of review early access, weeks in advance to really be able to take your time with it. Instead, I had to really cut through it because of one of our viewers, of course, giving me early access to a copy of Suicide Squad, which, again, very, very grateful for. But the game I'm reviewing right now, I'm able to actually take my time with, which is really, really nice. I can't say what that game is. I think you can guess, but that review will be up, again, about a week or so. Again, I'd have to look at the calendar to be exactly sure. But we've got big reviews coming, and we've got our Madam Web review coming. We've got another big game review coming, and we have another game review coming that is interesting. So that's where a lot of the time is going right now. Okay. Let's see. Dan says, y'all know I'm ready to talk about Spider-Man 4, my boy Daredevil, Secret Wars, and that Deadpool 3. Deadpool and Friends. Dan did read the spoiler. Okay, all right. So Dan does know the plot of Daredevil Born Again. Dan says, Hobgoblin versus Toby's Peter is chef's kiss. And Ronnie says, hey, Greg. Hey, Ronnie, it is great to see you again. It's crazy that it's February and we already have such a packed year in terms of releases, and especially in terms of not wanting to fall behind. So on top of the way that I am approaching 2024 across all 3 of our channels is scheduled videos are going to be a matter of reviews when I'm given the opportunity or when I'm blessed to be able to have a review copy and be able to review something. And then, of course, so that's where scheduled content is going to be. Our Patreon is updated Monday through Friday. So, and that's, that's just going on in terms of we have Monday through Friday a post on our Patreon. And then our daily content in terms of trying to balance out scheduled content versus live streams, our regular daily content, instead of a video upload every day, I'm pretty much approaching it as we're going to sit down, it's going to be a live stream instead of a regular video upload. So we're going to sit down, we're going to talk, we'll share the news, we'll share the, our exclusive scoops, and we'll do all of that here. And then scheduled content on this channel is going to be focused on, obviously, when it's reviews and things like that. That's not going to be just locked to a live stream. there's a lot that I'm excited to talk about that I can't. In terms of what's going on as we get into February, I've already kind of said this. If you're a Patreon, you've gotten a little sneak peek, but my book, my big epic fantasy book, The Tower, The War Within, is finished. We are scheduling a little book tour. We're finalizing the release date for that. And I've also already started work on my third book now. So 89 Instrument of Destruction is already out and available. The Tower, The War Within is coming very soon. We are ironing out my book tour, and we're ironing out a release date. And my third book, I've outlined it, and I literally started writing the first chapter today. I already have the title. I'm not going to reveal that yet. We're going to let the tower happen. But I will give a little tease on the next book that I'm writing. It's a little dystopian. You know, it's not post-apocalyptic. It's a little dystopian. It's set in New York. It is very much so inspired by Hideo Kojima. I'll leave it at that. But it is also my first very mature book. So 89 Instrument of Destruction can be read by any ages. The Tower, The War Within, basically, if you're a fan of Elder Scrolls or if you're a fan of Tolkien, you're going to be very comfortable. You're going to love The Tower, and that's, again, anybody can pick up. But this current book I'm writing is going to be very mature. This is actually not something I would give to kids. So I'm really excited to share The Tower and this upcoming book with all of you. Okay, Ronnie says, caught a little of the stream yesterday. Very interesting. Oh, yeah, Ronnie. Okay, so, hey, Ronnie, if you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear them. Dan says, Ultimate Invasion has to be the blueprint for the new MCU post-Secret Wars. I'm talking adult Peter, T'Challa, Hank, and Jan as founding members. All that is bare minimum. Again, I don't know if much has changed right now. But, yeah, I mean, I got to be honest, Dan. You are setting yourself up for disappointment. I want to be very clear here. You're setting yourself up for disappointment. Ronnie says, I'll be sad if Spider-Man and Daredevil don't interact, but if this will lead into a Daredevil movie, I think I'll take it. See, that's exactly what I was saying. That's like the same boat I'm in as well. We were talking yesterday, depending on how far you got in the stream, how, everybody likes to kind of, shit on Sony, but Sony's had more successes than failures. I mean, that's just objective truth. So if Sony wants to go off and do Spider-Man films and not have to worry about non-compete clauses with Disney, I'm okay with that. And if that means Daredevil gets pushed to the forefront and gets to have not just this event film, but also other theatrical experiences, I'm all for it. Now, again, like I said yesterday, I am under the impression that whether or not the partnership with Sony and Disney continues, the Daredevil event film is happening no matter what. And a lot of this is because, one, Marvel and Disney believe it is a core franchise that will make money. Come on. There's nothing wrong with that. It's totally fair to want to make money. And two, they believe that Daredevil has earned it, that Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio have earned it. And I hope the views for Born Again are as good as they need to be for this. Like I said, it is in early development. There is no screenwriter or director attached, and as far as early pitches and early meetings, it's really the discussion that I have been informed of have been about John Bernthal, Kristen Ritter, Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio, and of course, like we talked about yesterday, they are meeting with actors for Danny Rand and Luke Cage, but Mike Coulter and Finn Jones are not on that list, and I haven't heard anything about Echo, which is disappointing. I don't think I've heard that Disney was not impressed by the numbers for the Marvel Spotlight series, and I think I have a lot that I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts in my head that I haven't really been able to articulate. I haven't really figured out how I want to say what I want to say, but I think Disney is taking the wrong approach with streaming and with Disney Plus, and I think very soon something's going to have to be reevaluated, because with the droughts of content, and if the audience isn't interested, I think we're going to see an exodus of Disney Plus, and now, right? I mean, like, I don't know. I don't really have to do a lot of this professionally anymore in terms of focus testing Disney kind of viewership. But by all means, if you're watching this live or if you watch this later, I would love the audience's perspective on Disney Plus. Are you currently subscribed? Are you subbing and unsubbing based on content as it airs? Are you waiting for content to finish before you sub? I'm very interested in that perspective. I'm curious what the audience retention is. So, and I have a lot more that I could say on that, but I'm going to get caught up with some of these comments. And again, if you're just dropping in and joining us, please hit that like button. Consider subscribing to this channel and our other channels. And there is a link in the description below to our Discord where you can check out everything we post, including the significant amount of leaks that we have. Dan says, I'm already knowing the original recipe X-Men are coming back, but I'm wondering if we'll get even more surprises outside of them. Yes, you will. Dan says, everybody is thinking Beyond the Spider-Verse could take us to live action. It could happen, but I'm leaning towards crossovers with canceled animated shows. Yeah, I'm not aware of Beyond the Spider-Verse doing like anything like major with live action. It's going to be a surprise to me. Like right now, as I'm doing this live stream, I haven't seen evidence of it. Dan says, I don't see how. I'm not saying the reboot will change the history of the whole MCU. I'm sure everything we've had will still have happened, but there's no way in hell T'Challa will stay dead on screen forever. No. Now, T'Challa, now again, if we're picking through what you said, one, no. T'Challa you will have a T'Challa Black Panther. That's a guarantee. That's already whispered in the hallways of Marvel Studios. That's a known thing. But in terms of looking at because I've read Ultimate Invasion too, and what I've heard does not line up with anything of Ultimate Invasion. And also resting on an adult Peter Parker still being in the MCU. You got to remember that is completely reliant on the partnership between Sony and Disney continuing, and however Sony continues to establish Spider-Man beyond Tom Holland. There's a lot there to unpack. And I think more than not, you're setting yourself up for you're more than not setting yourself up for disappointment if you're kind of setting that as the basis. T'Challa, as an isolated character, is going to return 100%. That's a guarantee. Henry and Janet, I've heard mixed things, to be completely honest. I know that Marvel considers the Ant-Man franchise, well, not Marvel, Disney considers the Ant-Man franchise dead. I don't know if they're going to reevaluate that in the future, or if Ant-Man and Wasp are going to be pretty much limited to ensemble appearances. I think one of the great ways to reestablish a connection with the audience would be with Henry and Janet, and I have heard that Marvel, not Disney, I don't know what Disney wants to do, but I have heard that Marvel does want to do more with Henry and Janet post-reboot, because they're going to have the opportunity to do that. We'll have to see what happens, of course. But yeah, just and again, because you said founders, I do not believe Peter and T'Challa will be founding members of the Avengers. That is not the impression I'm under with the kind of gossip that I've heard. Marvel is taking the approach, because of the strain with the Sony relationship, that Spider-Man, if they get to use him, that's going to be great, but they do not want to make Spider-Man an integral part of the MCU moving forward, because they just don't know what's going to happen with that, and that he can't be a cornerstone, he can't be a pillar if they can't maintain that partnership. Okay, so Ronnie says Bob Iger's comments are interesting. The slate, if they do Comic-Con, will be very different, I assume. I believe so, Ronnie. I mean, I'm right there with you. I think if they have a presence at Comic-Con, it's going to be very different. There is a D23, so the big Disney convention is also this year. And I don't know if they're going to skip San Diego to really push D23, but I'm curious to see what they do from a business perspective. I think one way or the other, we're going to be looking at a very different slate at either of those events, or potentially both of those events. Ronnie says, you did mention Thunderbolts and Blades being looked at also, and whatever about Thunderbolts. Oh, you're whatever about Thunderbolts, but losing Blade and Mahershala Ali will be disappointing. Hope I said that name right. I know the actor, but the name I can't say if I'm always correct on. Honestly, I can take or leave both. I think that's just kind of I have no connection to these characters. I like the characters that are in Thunderbolts, but I have no interest in Sentry. I mean, if you've seen our leaked plot for the Thunderbolts film, I can take it or leave it. Hell, put that on Disney Plus. I mean, I really could take it or leave it. I think if Marvel is going to be reevaluating how many theatrical experiences, how many Disney Plus shows that they're doing, they really, for one, it means we're going to get less, and we're going to get less riskier stuff. We're going to get less experimental stuff. But the audience spoke. I guess that's the best way to say it. The audience rejected all of it. You know, the audience rejected Werewolf by Night. The audience rejected Moon Knight. The audience rejected She-Hulk. The audience rejected the Marvels. I mean, the audience is not turning out for this stuff. So it's like, okay, the audience spoke, fine. Then they're going to put money. I mean, people made this happen. So you're not going to get risky. You're not going to get experimental. They're going to focus on Avengers movies. We'll see what happens with Captain America. They're going to focus on X-Men, and they're going to focus on Fantastic Four, but who knows? I don't know if the audience is going to reject Fantastic Four at this point. I don't think the audience is going to reject the X-Men. If the audience rejects the X-Men, then I am clearly out of touch with the audience. That's all I got to say. If the audience rejects the X-Men, that's really it for me, because I'm looking forward to an interconnected, like that, the Marvel comics in cinema. I'm really looking forward to have all these characters under one roof. I'm really looking forward to. And if the audience rejects all these, smaller experimental properties like they did Werewolf by Night, which I loved, I don't know. I guess I do know. I am clearly not on the same wavelength as the audience. If they reject Daredevil, I'm going to be completely dismayed. Now, if you've read the plot of Daredevil's Born Again pilot, yeah, I think people are going to be upset by it. I think there are going to be people very upset by Born Again. I think people are going to be upset by what happens in the series premiere. I think there's going to be, depending on where this is an election year, and if Daredevil does manage to premiere this year, and they drop the Punisher episodes where where it's very similar. I mean, like, the Punisher episodes of Daredevil Born Again hit very close to reality. You're going to piss off people. And I think that's awesome. I think stories should piss off people. I think stories should take risks. But if the audience overwhelmingly rejects Daredevil Born Again, then that's just another thing that we lose. And I am not on the same wavelength as I will definitely not be on the same wavelength as the Marvel audience at that point. I'm not. One, I actually liked the Marvels. I thought it was it was better than the Thor films. I thought the Marvels was way better than the Thor films. I thought the Marvels was better than the Falcon and Winter Soldier. I thought Werewolf by Night was better than Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like, I know that I have my perspective, but it's disappointing, I guess, when clickbait manipulates it, and then audiences don't turn out. And without focus testing, it's hard to know why audiences aren't turning out without a post-mortem focus test, which I've been a part of those before for other projects. A few of them, all of you have seen. I'll leave it at that because of NDAs. But it's a weird situation to be in. I mean, like, there's one thing about, like, oh, I didn't connect with this, I didn't care for it. But if the majority of audiences really start rejecting these properties, then Marvel will not experiment. I mean, we're not going to get the Rocket Raccoon film. We're not going to get it. I also want to comment real quick before we get back to the comments. I want to comment really quickly because I've been inundated with a lot of DMs about this topic, and that is the revival of Marvel television shows. My very direct comment on that, we had already talked about this. Now, again, I'm not telling you have to go through and watch all of our live streams, but if you were in these live streams, this is going to sound a little repetitive. We already talked about Runaways. Runaways is not getting revived, though. Like, that cast is not coming back. Like, the Runaways reboot that was in development, because it's not anymore. I mean, the production documents show that development had ceased on it. It's not outright canceled, but Marvel is not actively developing it anymore. There's no update on the production documents. But it was going to be a complete reboot with a whole new, younger cast. Like, they were going to start with a very young cast and do the Runaways proper. Cloak and Dagger is also, again, it's not being revived. There is no Cloak and Dagger project in development right now. As of today, February 9, there is no Cloak and Dagger project in development. None. I want to be very clear on that. It does not exist. At the same time, in terms of the cartoons, I mean, it's just, I'm in the same boat that I was before. There is an Ensemble Untitled project, animated project in development, but there's no evidence of any animated revivals right now. I think they're waiting to see how X-Men 97 do, and also, again, Disney's pulling budgets and projects back and limiting the scope of what they're doing. So I don't know where a lot of this started, but I can look and see, and there's no evidence of any of these things on the docket whatsoever. Just to be very, just so we're clear on that. Okay. Casual Gamer says, "Hi Greg, anything on if we will get Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2, and are we getting a new entry?" Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 remaster. So as far as I know, Ultimate Alliance coming back, it's not going to be any kind of remaster. It's going to be built on the re-release or that they already did, and it's just going to be put back out. It's just a matter of working out licensing with Microsoft now. That's all I've heard on that. And Ultimate Alliance 3, I would pay very close attention because I think you're going to be seeing Ultimate Alliance 3 on PC. I don't believe it's been canceled, but I did some digging in some databases, and I'm going to be very careful here, but Ultimate Alliance 3 is showing up in the Steam database. So take that as you will. Again, just take that as you will. But Ultimate Alliance 3 is showing up, and Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2, as far as I've ever understood, they're just going to be back. Like it's going to be what was already out and available. It's just going to be back on the market to be able to buy, and that's how it's going to be with any of the Activision Marvel titles. They're just going to be back on the market. My impression was never that they were going to be remastered or remakes. Like it's just going to be the titles that were pulled because of licensing issues, and now they're working on renegotiating those licensing issues and getting them back out. And the same is true for Transformers, War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron, and Devastation. It's licensing. It's going to be just plain old. These titles were already out. We worked through the licensing. They're back out. That's it. That's all I've ever been made aware of. And, of course, Ultimate Alliance 3 being in Steam's database is something that I am paying very close attention to. Ronnie says, "I am a fan of Mahershala Ali." Oh, that's fine. I got to be honest. I only know him from the Luke Cage show, and I did not care for the Luke Cage show or the Iron Fist show. And Ronnie says, "But I do understand it's business." And Teledia says, "Got any news for the Superman game?" Not any major updates. Not besides that. Not besides that WB Montreal is working on an untitled game with flying mechanics that we've all been informed of is Superman, and that's kind of where we're all kind of really setting at. But yeah, it's just a matter of waiting and seeing. That's it. I've not seen any clear, 100% footage. I've seen a piece of concept art from a DC project, but I don't know if it was the WB Montreal game, and that's kind of where I'm setting. I'm in murky waters with that right now. I know that it has not been canceled, and I know that WB Montreal are still working on it, and I know that they have a flight team on it. So that is where I'm at right now. Whatever is going on at WB Montreal, it involves a character that can fly. Casual Gamer says, "Are we going to get a new Ultimate Alliance? Is Nintendo or Microsoft involved with it?" I think they're going to see how... So right now, my impression is Marvel, because I want to be really, really clear here so there's no misunderstandings. Marvel wants to do another Ultimate Alliance. They, as far as I'm aware, Marvel has not found a partner for that game. Now, again, I don't get updates on this every day. I don't talk to these, I don't have kind of conversations every day. That may have changed. There may be something already brewing. But my information, as far as I am currently aware, today, the 9th of February, 2024, Marvel wants to do another Ultimate Alliance. They have not found a partner. And it is not going, and it is, from what the kind of gossip I've heard, it'll be a complete reboot. It'll be complete, AAA reboot. Nothing else from previous Ultimate Alliance games will matter. Again, very, very, very different. Hey, Mike Lightning. I'm going to get some water real quick. All right. Let's see. Ronnie says, I'm happy I got Ultimate Alliance bundled right before I got taken off. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Mac. I'm right there with you. I was very, very happy. Teledia says, okay, cool. And of course, Mike Lightning is asking how it's been. It's been very, very good. I hope you're doing well. Next week is Valentine's Day, so I'm excited. But again, my wife would say every day is Valentine's Day. You know what I'm saying, Mac? So we've got some plans this weekend, of course. You know, we've got some plans this weekend. I hope all of you have some good romantic plans this weekend. If you want romantic plans, if you don't, that's fine. If you do want romantic plans, I hope you got them. Oh yeah, remember everybody, as you drop in, again, just like Mike right here, hit that like button. We got to feed the monster that is YouTube. So, oh, Mike just got back from a nightly hike. Oh, nice. I tell you, I love hiking. We go out to excuse me. We go out to Wichita Mountain in Oklahoma. I love hiking out there. I tell you what, I can spend all day. I mean, like, I absolutely love it in Oklahoma. Wichita Mountain is so beautiful. Coming across the bison, coming across the longhorns, like is so beautiful out there. And I mean, me and my family, like, we all love it. We can spend all day there. Like, hiking, something that we've done for years. And honestly, Wichita is my favorite place to hike. I mean, it really, really is. I love it. And it's relatively a short drive. Relatively, it is 3 hours. You know, that's not bad. 3 hours is not a bad drive. But I love that. And we're actually, depending on the weather, if the weather stays nice, we're going hiking tomorrow. We're going, us and some friends are getting out going hiking. And then also I might do some old comic hunting. I'm going to head out to Keith's Comics, see if I can find any dig through and see if they got any back issues or anything kind of special. Because I'm still back issue hunting for Marvel. You know, I don't collect modern Marvel, but I'm still back issue hunting, trying to fill in some of my collection. Mike says Spider-Man 2's big update is coming. Yeah, in March. I think people are going to be a little, I mean, to be fair, I don't know every costume, but if the costumes I've found are going to be a part of this update, I think people are going to be disappointed. I hope they have more costumes, but the costumes that I have found, I think people are going to be disappointed. And I'm sorry. I hope they have more costumes besides what I have found. Let's see. Ronnie says, there's a trail an hour away from me I found last summer that leads into a waterfall. Beautiful there. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, unfortunately for a waterfall trail, we got to go a little bit. It's at least like an hour or so to find, you know, just some kind of like running water like that, in terms of like a kind of water falling a little bit like that, because that is beautiful. I love stuff like that. But yeah, oh man, I tell you, that's one thing. I love getting outside. I love getting outdoors. I don't do, you know, I don't even as a teenager, like, I wasn't really into playing football and stuff. Like, you can get me outside hiking and boxing. I love boxing. I box every day. I just finished up a little tournament, so I love boxing. But yeah, boxing and hiking are like my favorite activities. Mike says the Spider-Man 2 update is on his mom's birthday. I was like, what the fuck, coincidence? Nice. I hope your mom's a fan. Like, you know, you can surprise your mom with the Spider-Man 2 update. She can play some Spider-Man. My dad, before he passed, I've talked about this before, but like, serious gamer. Like, there were games in the house literally before I was born, you know. Just a combination because of his work and what he did. Like, we had access to a lot in terms of gaming, and yeah, I've said it before, but like for him, it was Hideo Kojima. Like, if the favoritism for Kojima in my house growing up was so huge. Like, that was, there were two names where, well, and eventually three names where it was like, okay, if they're making this game, it is a must-have. And it was Hideo Kojima, Shigeru Miyamoto, and I.J. Aonuma. Those were the big ones. And over time, especially as we got into the PlayStation era, we paid it. You added Tetsuya Nomura to that list, and those were the big ones. Those were the big game designers that we learned from, we paid attention to, we analyzed, and meeting them was always a huge treat. But yeah, my dad was a serious gamer. My mom, she loved video games visually, and she loved the stories, but she just, if it was 3D, she couldn't figure it out. So she watched the games get played. Let's see. Ronnie says, to get to the waterfall, the hike is like a 40-minute hike. That's not bad. That's a really good time. I mean, that's not bad to get to it. And that's short, especially because, I mean, I kid you not, like, we will, for when we take our trips to Wichita, which we take pretty often, we'll leave at about 6 a.m. And so we'll get there between 8 and 9. And so, and we will hike all day, right? Well, because again, we pack our food, we pack our water, stuff like that. And then we usually, once we wrap up at 4, we'll wrap up at like 4, we'll wrap up at like 4 or 5 p.m. We'll find a really nice place to have dinner because we'll have a big dinner. And then it's, if we're staying, do a hotel, or we do that drive home, we're home by 8, 9 p.m. on the weekend. It's really, really nice. Mike says, are they the 4 suits announced last year? The Fugly Pack. I think so. I don't know. So I have to be honest. I only know what I've seen in data. I don't know. I don't know like what's been publicly announced. I have to be completely honest. I didn't know there was something like announced you said last year? 4 suits announced last year. I don't know what the 4 suits were that were announced last year. I know what I found in the data, which I assume, now again, this isn't always conclusive, to be fair, because data mining is not a guarantee, but what I have found are really, really ugly, not comic booky suits, outfits, whatever you want to call them. Oh gosh. Okay, we got about 15. Yeah, we got about 15 minutes left in the stream. Like clockwork. Hold on. My daughter is texting me. Okay, so, and Mike says, nah, bro, she hates playing games, but is a fan because of me, so it ain't all bad. Oh, okay, your mom. All right. That's fair. Mike says, by the way, Greg, did you see the phenomenal new Ultimate Spidey mods, the young Pete with the mask on in full suit? No, I don't think so. Can you send me a link to those mods? I don't think I've seen that. I have a Spidey costume mod. Let's see. You say young Pete with the mask on in full suit. I have an Ultimate Spidey like costume mod, which might be the same. I don't know if there's like a newer one or something. But no. But if you have a link to that, drop it in Discord or whatever. But I would love to see that. I would love to see that, to see if it's one I already have. My Spider-Man game is loaded with mods. I have modded the fuck out of it. Right now, I am trying, and again, trying is the key word, because I've got so much going on with my book deal and all this stuff that working on mods is taking such a back seat. But I was working on a mod, on a Daredevil costume mod, so that, again, I'm playing Spider-Man on PC, but it's Daredevil. So I've been working on that, which I'm really excited for. I don't know if I'll ever finish it, because I have so many mods that just set unfinished just because of time. But yeah, that's one that I've been working on just so that I can swing around as Daredevil, just have some fun. Okay, Mike says, dude, that honestly made me consider making the Ultimate Spider-Man suit jump up to my top 5. Oh, right on. Hey, it's a great look. Mark Bagley knows how to draw Spider-Man better than anybody. It's like a week old. Okay, I do not have it then. I do have an Ultimate Spider-Man mod, but again, if this is only a week old, I do not have it. I'd love to see it to compare it to what I have, see if it's better. Ronnie says it's cool. Spider-Man 2 got New Game Plus, but it's not making me want to play it at the moment. Yeah, I'm right there with you. My time with Spider-Man 2 is done. You know, I got ample time to play it because of being able to review it properly. Hello, Suicide Squad. I'm not gonna let them live that down. Okay, I'll forget about it one day. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It wasn't really. I mean, I've talked about it, and I'm not trying to beat the shit out of Spider-Man 2. It's a fine game, but it's just like I talked about in my review. Like, I've played 50 games featuring Spider-Man. I don't know. I'm looking for something different, and I don't think Insomniac, I think they're comfortable with what they're making, and they have an audience for it. Hey, awesome. That's great. Bravo. You made a solid game. I'm looking for something, I guess, weirder. I guess I'm looking for something riskier. I don't know, but it is a perfectly average game. But I'm not going to New Game Plus it. Not anytime soon, anyway. There's so much other stuff coming out. There's so much other stuff. There's so many great games coming out this year. So to replay Spider-Man, to have the time to choose between replaying or playing something new, like just because of, in terms of the work that I do on YouTube, yeah, it's focused on, like, my work time is going to be on playing new stuff, getting review copies and playing the new stuff. And that, you know, that's what I'm doing right now. Let's see. Casual Gamer said, in terms of PlayStation exclusive Marvel games, since Insomniac is going all in on Marvel games, is it unlikely other PlayStation studios or even second or third party studios partners will make Marvel PlayStation exclusives? I think it's fairly unlikely. This is just my business perspective on it, but I think Insomniac already has Spider-Man and the X-Men. It doesn't get bigger than that. They have the biggest ones. I mean, you can put the Avengers on that list, and you can debate whether or not Marvel's Avengers video game hurt the Avengers IP. I don't think it did significantly, but I don't see anything labeled Avengers being console exclusive. At this point, it's just a matter of, how can I word this? I don't want to get anybody in trouble. At this point, it's the most interesting thing for me is who's going to get Ultimate Alliance. Yeah, it's who will get Ultimate Alliance is the thing that's interesting to me. Let's see. Oh, and Mike says, oh, by the way, have you been able to start your Ben 10 marathon yet? Not, unfortunately, yet. I am not sure where it is streaming, which is something that I keep forgetting to look into because we are catching up on a lot of anime right now. My wife and I are behind on our anime, and we've been desperately trying to catch up on a lot of our shows when we have the time to. So, like right now, we're watching Spy Family, which is amazing. I love Spy Family so much. And then we have to start To Your Eternity. So it's a matter of finding where Ben 10 is streaming, if it's accessible. That's going to be the biggest question. That's the biggest hurdle to watching it casually, is where Ben 10 is streaming, and I have not looked that up yet. Mike said, I got the links from the bit I saw them in. Where can I send them to you? You can message me on Discord. You can, I mean, like if you use Discord, you can direct message me there. That's the fastest way, or you can DM me on Twitter. Like either one of those work perfectly. Excuse me. Casual Gamer says, do you think Disney invested $1.5 billion in Epic Games because the investors pressured them? Do you think they also are planning on acquiring a publisher next? No, there is actually no pressure. Not the story I've heard anyway. This is so... I don't want to speak for everybody in terms of when I hear gossip, so I'm going to be really careful here. My understanding is Disney believes that gaming is a significant frontier for revenue and profit. And they believe that Epic is the best, broadest partner for the gaming industry. Because of their access to Unreal Engine 5 and because of the success with their own game titles, Disney believes that this is a very healthy match. And the first partnerships you're going to see with that is within Fortnite. It's not going to be Fortnite, but just like the Lego experience, and I said this in Discord, Star Wars is going to have a whole experience through Fortnite, like the Lego. Marvel's also going to have it, and it's going to be big. Marvel and Star Wars, like the early development documents that I've seen, you're in for a treat. This will actually get me to download Fortnite to play these experiences. You are in for an absolute treat. And this also paves the way for something really fruitful, I think. I think it's going to lead to something really special. I mean, I think so. Like, if the audience doesn't respond to it, fine, but I think it's going to lead to something really, really special. If you're a Marvel fan, you're going to be eating very well with the events that they have planned for the Marvel experience. And if you're a Star Wars fan, it's the same thing. The stuff that they have planned for that live service environment is going to be very, very attractive. I think we're in for, I mean, like, if the release matches the designs that I've seen, we're in for a treat. Like, we really, really are. I'm legitimately very excited for this. And I don't even play Fortnite. I have no interest in Fortnite. I will play these Marvel and Star Wars experiences, especially Star Wars. Star Wars wins over Marvel for me. Like, if you like Marvel more than Star Wars, that's totally cool. I love Star Wars way more than Marvel. Star Wars wins. So if I spend, if I'm able to sit down and play a game and I have a little bit of time to play a game, I'm going to the Star Wars experience. You know what I'm saying? And I look forward to seeing all of you in Marvel and Star Wars because it's going to be cross-play. So that's going to be easy. We'll be able to log in, hang out, and play. I'm really, really excited. I do want to make very clear, though, I called dibs on Anakin Skywalker, and I call dibs on Daredevil. I'm joking, of course. You can run around whoever you want to. There's going to be multiples of these characters running around. I am joking, but you're going to see me as Daredevil a lot, and you're going to see me as Anakin Skywalker all the freaking time. Okay, Mike says, dude, I've been rewatching some Omniverse episodes because I haven't watched them in a while, and it's so freaking good. I am excited. What are you... Well, I mean, I guess, Mike, the easiest thing, because I can just ask you directly. I don't have to go search Google. What do you watch it on? Like, where is it streaming? Like, where is the easiest way to access all of Ben 10 in chronological order? Ah! Hang on, that's my... I have to take this. Hello. Okay, last few minutes of the stream. Monday we will be back earlier, so again, bear with me on that. I know we're just under an hour here. Thank you all so much for joining. I'm going to kind of get a little casual. Like I said, Mike, wherever you've been watching Ben 10, I would love to know. I'm going to go through casuals comments real quick. Let's see. Casual Gamer says, so wait, WB Discovery, even in huge debt, will acquire Viacom or Paramount? No. Casual Gamer says, do you think Disney will acquire a gaming publisher? Any guesses? EA. I don't know. It's not a guarantee, but I know Disney and EA have been talking. I assume they're talking for acquisition purposes. Maybe it's something else, but I think EA is talking to Disney because EA wants to be acquired. That's the impression I'm under. Again, it's the case of take it or leave it, but that's the gossip. That's the impression I'm under. Casual says, do you think Epic will make full-on games based on those Disney IPs? Yes. Mike says, I'm not sure if I'm legally allowed to say here. Oh, I got you. Can you message me your link on Discord? You're going to be busy messaging me. Okay. And then Casual says, I like your new channel name. Cool. Thank you. We're having some fun goofing off. The G-spot, the innuendo. I mean, if you know me, you know I love saying that's what she said. And my name is Greg, and this is a spot to hang out. And I was just like, G-spot, this is way too funny. I have to fucking do it. Because, again, I am a juvenile. And we have a juvenile sense of humor here. So that's just how it fucking is. Okay. And Mike says, of course. Okay, right on. Okay, so... we are wrapping up here. I hope you all have a wonderful and safe weekend. We will be back early Monday. We got a Meteor stream on Monday. Hopefully, I have a game that I have to beat so that you guys can hear my review for it. And I'm trying desperately to get this stuff beat in time and to be able to actually play and casually experience it. So I've got a lot going on. So thank you all so much for enjoying our content, watching us across our 3 channels. Thank you all so much to all the patrons who choose to support us. I hope our patrons are enjoying their daily leaked content. Thank you all so much. And above all else and most importantly, stay safe, take care of others, have a marvelous